Hi, I'm Sarah and this is my story. So we were 7 months into marriage and we had this 5-year plan where we wanted to pursue our careers, wanted to go travelling, and we were really committed to the stuff we were doing in church ministry. And we found out that we were pregnant. We kind of got our heads around the idea that we were going to become parents and that it was meant to be and it was in God's plan, and trusting that everything was going to work out. So my pregnancy wasn't a conventional pregnancy. It was a really testing, stretching, and something we really had to trust God in. Everyone sees pregnancy as a really exciting thing. People post about it on social media, bump photos and everything. And I just couldn't do any of that. I never felt that I wanted to. I really struggled with pregnancy, especially when people were coming up to you going, "Oh, what are you having? Are you excited?" And on the outside, I was just having to say, yeah, I'm really excited. But like inside, I was like, no, I'm absolutely petrified. I don't know what's happening. But I didn't want to show that. And it was really hard. Like, me and Mark had only been married not even a year. And I was having to rely on him to support me, but also like my family, because I was scared to speak to anyone else, because I was really trying to hide how I actually felt, because I just wanted to put on this front that I was okay. We had some scans. And I just remember going for a scan and the lady saying, "I need to go and get someone else in." And at that point, I just knew something wasn't right. They were doing loads of scans and checking different areas, and they said that I needed to go for more specialist scans. And that was kind of when it all kind of started to crumble for me, that I knew that it wasn't going to be easy. And I was asking why me? Why are we having to go through this? So we ended up going for different scans, and they confirmed some parts of it, that Lexi might have talipes, she might have cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, but they couldn't give us a definite answer. And the one consultant said that if we wanted to terminate, it would be the best solution if we didn't want a life of complications. But that was never an option for what we were going to do. We wanted to carry on with the pregnancy, and knowing that however Lexi was born, that, you know, she was God's daughter and that we'd bring her up and that she'd be a world changer. Coming from a family with 2 brothers that've got special needs, I already knew how things could be complicated, and that was the stuff that I was afraid of, that I didn't know how my baby was going to be. And it got to a point when I was at work, at Christmas, I was about 6 months pregnant, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I just remember that moment, just breaking down in my office and just sat on the floor crying and knowing that I needed to speak to someone. I just couldn't do it alone anymore. I took leave off work. I cancelled everything that I was meant to be doing, and I just said to God at that time, "God, I need you to show me that like everything's going to be okay, and that I just need to be able to trust you more than I've ever trusted you before in this, because this is such a big thing to me." And I just remember going through that stage, just putting on worship songs and just listening to them over and over again, and just pinpointing like certain lyrics that would really stand out to me, and like declaring them like everything was going to be okay. And I remember coming out of that time and going back to work for the final bit of, before I started maternity leave, with a whole different attitude to how I was going to take it. Deep down, I was still petrified, not knowing still what was going to be happening. We still had numerous hospital appointments, but I just had to go with a different attitude, knowing that, okay, God, you've got this. So when it came to the day when I was being induced, I remember walking into the hospital, and we got to our room and they'd showed us a room that was all ready for Lexi, which had like this massive cot in, but it was all like specialist equipment. And at that point I was like, she's not going in there. And I remember just like walking up to it and going, she's not going in there, it's not happening. And I remember me giving birth to Lexi and thinking, I'm never gonna hold her at the start, because they're gonna take her away. And I just remember sitting there waiting for her to do the checks, and they passed her back to me and they were like, "She's fine, she can stay with you." And I was just like, "She's okay?" And they were like, "Yeah, she's absolutely fine at the moment, like we've still got checks to do, but she's fine at the moment." And I just remember like just saying at that point, like, "Thank you, God, like you've really protected her and the whole thing, and you've like looked after her so much." And I just remember when we were coming out of delivery suite to go back to our room, And we walked with the cot down, and the consultant that we'd been seeing through the whole pregnancy was coming towards us, and he looked down and he was like, wow, I can't believe that she's fine, like there's no problems. And for me, hearing him say that, I was just like, yes, like, you know, we've had God protecting us the whole time through this. You know, you just have to have that hope that it is working out and God's plan does work, and you've got to trust him more than ever before. And, you know, even though Lexi had talipes, that just seems so minimal to what could have been through it all, that she could have had a lot more. And, you know, even though she still has treatment for that, she's the crazy little diva that we know now, and that actually I look back and think, wow, how those 9 months taught me so much, and how that now anything that I come against like is nothing, that I just have to trust God and know that everything works out. In the darkest of the days, hope prevailed, and hope is still here.